course, to our partner, longtime partner and ambassador, Ms. Bea Jimenez, for joining us and always supporting the initiatives of our company. Again, maraming salamat sa pagpunta nyo dito sa ating official media launch. And thank you for the usual support as well of our partners. I see a lot also of private companies and foreign chambers that we have been partnering with in the last 3-4 years already. And yeah, over the years, ACG has been the forefront of driving meaningful discussions on tax and investment policies. On our first 2 conferences, successfully, we brought together government leaders, industry leaders, private sectors, chambers of commerces, different business organizations to discuss and tackle pressing issues about taxes, investment policies. And these discussions really help us push for legislations. We've been working also closely with different policymakers, specifically the Senate of Ways and Means Committee under Senator Mingit Chalian. And we've been very active in discussing with them what are the insights, the concerns, even the complaints of the foreign investors who already have businesses here in the Philippines that we've been promising the heavens and earths, and then they will have, once they set up the business here in the Philippines, they will have these concerns, this and that. But fortunately, because our policymakers listen, and we became one of the bridges to make sure that their voices will be heard. So the conference is being very instrumental in these kinds of discussions with these organizations. So our first conferences, I'm not sure, I think most of the partners who attended here also attended our first conference in 2022. So we discussed about the CREATE bill, the proposed CREATE More, the newly passed CREATE More law, and the digitalization of tax policies and the processes in the bill. Then the second conference that we did last year, also in Sheraton Pasay. So we started aligning our goals with the government just to encourage more foreign investors to do business or set up business here in the Philippines. So successfully, we have gathered also all of the government leaders. It's a very well-attended event. All of the crucial government agencies attended, like SEC, DTI, ARTA, even the different foreign chambers who have been also in discussions with us about initiatives that we can do to help the foreign investors also attended that conference. And this year, we wanted to still push through to encourage more foreign investors to do business here in the Philippines, but this time with a focus on ESG investing. So, as mentioned by our founder and CEO, we wanted to start the conference very grand and end it with a bang. So for this year's conference, we will be doing panel discussions. On March 26th, we will be having exhibits to feature the local products of our awardees, our exhibitors, our panelists. We will also be recognizing through the ECG Global Awards the companies that will be attending who are champions of sustainability, also the advocates for sustainability, and we will end it with a bang because we will end it with a fashion show. So we also invited different local fashion designers who are into sustainability to showcase their products and ramp it at the end of the program of the conference. And in line with the conference, we're also launching our new book. So this will be the 3rd book about encouraging doing business here in the Philippines. So the first one that we published is the Why Invest in the Philippines. So we really want to still let the foreign investors, the local businesses to know that the Philippines is still a prime investment destination. So that is why we published the Why Invest in the Philippines. It was followed last year by Reimagining the World Without Corruption, tackling the different types of corruption that we may be facing and how we can probably fight it through our cooperation and proposed legislation with our policymakers. And this year, our book will be titled Reimagining the World Without Climate Change. So the book will be focused on featuring different businesses, foreign and local businesses who are into sustainability, as well as, of course, the tax and tax policies aspect of this initiatives and businesses. So lastly, we will be kicking off as well our 2025 International Tax and Investment Roadshow. So our investment roadshow is our avenue to help the government, also the private sectors, to bridge the potential foreign investors who are still thinking to put up a business here in the Philippines, and the government agencies here in the Philippines. So we will be going to 15 states and countries. So it will start in Asia. We'll do it in Korea, Japan, India, Malaysia, and then we'll also do it in Dubai, Middle East. We'll also do it in Canada, in Australia, New Zealand, in Europe as well, and of course in USA, where our founder is currently based. So also because we have a very strong partnership with PEZA, we will be having a joint investment occasion with them. I think at least 5 out of the 15 countries where we will be going this year. PEZA will be our official partner to do the B2B and the discussions with these potential foreign investors. So I hope our company, ACG, hope that everyone who's here today will also be here, will also be attending the International Tax and Investment Conference on March 26th. And what we really just want is to ultimately know what's best and what's fair to make our business community and our economy to prosper. So again, maraming salamat, and we hope to see you again on March 26th, Manila Marriott Hotel in Pasay City for the 2025 International Tax and Investment Conference. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mendoza, for that inspiring word. So we also have food for all of our guests and media. Please feel free to enjoy the food. So as we proceed with our program, because of ACG's initiative, followed by Mr. Juan Arrea presenting the flowers. Let's give them a big round of applause. As we continue with our program, we take this moment to honor the strength, talent, and leadership of women worldwide. To celebrate Women's Month, may we call on Ms. Bini Hoka and Ms. Bea Benemet to the stage to receive flowers from Sir Juan Arrea.
To recognize the many people who have done their part in making sure that the world will be a better place to live in for the next generation. You know, we only have three considerations in recognizing our honorees. The first one is integrity. Let's really look for people who are conscientiously, consistently, and sincerely doing good things, protecting and preserving their values, their integrity. Ang hirap na muna mahanap. Mas madali mo maglagay ng credentials ng kung ano-anong palamuti at mahabang introduction sa mga sarili natin. But to really be a man and woman of integrity, it's really hard to find. And hopefully, of course, I will be biased, as she said, with my Tita Loida as our first honoree. I hope you will be inspired the way I was inspired. And I always take that opportunity. If you will monitor my social media, I go to New York 4 or 5 times a year, and I always have lunch or dinner with Tita Loida. And I really learned a lot of things from her, and she will always remind me to keep moving forward, to keep trying. Never. That's why I guess today she will have a message later, and we'll see whether her hope for the country will still be there, because I honestly believe that we should not give up. I honestly believe that each of us has a role to play. And the second consideration that we have in honoring our ACG Global Awardees is social impact. You know, CSR is such an overused term. Parang naging marketing campaign na siya. But how do we really make sure that we help build communities? How do we make sure that the closest to us are helped, not just monetarily, but at least their morale, their skills, they're uplifted, that they will be able to stand on their own. You know, the hardest part is to be objective, to tell somebody that he needs to improve his skill on communication, whether or social skills. You know, we need to study this so that we can get better jobs or higher pay. But we need to say that, we need to communicate that so that we will also empower other people. And of course, the most important thing, the third one, is sustainability. A lot of businesses are still struggling to make profit, but I think we all have to do our share to protect and save our planet. To make sure that sustainability is not just about trying to make our economy green, but trying to provide more opportunities to everyone. And as we always say, it's easy for the big companies and the richer countries to actually invest on it, but it's much harder to those who are most vulnerable, like the Philippines and our MSMEs. And particularly, one of the Harvard studies that we discussed during my time in Harvard is the women, the children. They are very vulnerable to all these changes, not just climate change, but any injustice, any unfair treatment, or how the world treats them. So I hope we will all do our share, and through ACG Global Awards, we'll be able to share with you, through the help of our richer partners, we'll be able to share their stories, that all of us will have hope and more reasons to do good and to keep empowering one another. So ACG is here not just to ask you to pay taxes, but to make sure our government will make it fair, equitable, and simple for all of us. And at the same time, we have to demand from the government to make sure that they use our taxes properly. So dapat po ganon. And this coming election, I won't say who you should vote, but you have to take every peso that you have paid, every taxes that you have paid. Think of those when you elect your mayor, your congressman, or your senator, because they will be the one entrusted to use our hard-earned money. So maraming pong salamat, and I hope I will also see you on March 26. And again, congratulations to a dear friend who will be leaving soon, going back to New York, Tita Loida. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mon Abria. Now we proceed to our highly anticipated panel discussion. Joining us on stage are some of the most respected leaders in their fields. Calling Ms. Attorney Loida Luis, Mr. Mon Abria, Ms. Bing Limhoco, Ms. Hazel Mendoza, and Ms. Bea Benet. Our distinguished panel will share their insights and expertise on business, tourism, and sustainable development. Let's welcome them on stage. Also, we're now open for the questions.
Hello, good morning. I'm Rain Alberto from Business Minor. My question could be addressed by anyone. My question is, how is the current situation of ESG investments in the Philippines? How is it looking right now? And what is your outlook for this year's investments given all the political noise happening in the Philippines which have affected markets and also Trump's tariff threats?
You know, as I mentioned earlier, there are already a lot of initiatives and investments made, but mostly by multinational companies or the big ones. What we want is that it will also allow the MSMEs to have their own investments and initiatives, but at the same time to attract more foreign investors to come into our country and really help us develop our countryside, but at the same time protect our natural resources. That's why we are also partnering with the Department of Tourism, because a lot of this infrastructure and development will also have to be mindful of protecting our natural resources, that they will not end up abusing or destroying it.
Sir, right now, yung mostly international companies pa lang. How about sa
We have local, the multinational companies that have started or integrated in their core values, in their mantra or strategic roadmap. Of course, we have the Metro Pacific, SM Investment, the appointees, not just on renewable energy, but having ESG standards in their corporate portfolio. So I think that's very important. But as I have said, the MSMEs, I think they are still far from it because they're still struggling with making profit. But at the same time, we need our policymakers to really make sure that we will have a conducive environment to help everyone transition from our old ways to a more sustainable future.
and then
With us, with the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we have started it. We have awards and we make sure it is one of the category. It is a very important category that they must achieve there. I'm also with the Philippine Franchise Association, and in all our awards, sustainability is very important. We make it a point.
Hi, morning. Progress. You mentioned about policies, okay? With regards to ESG and all those things. What policy initiatives or changes do you wish to put forward with this event?
So far, we have at least, to my mind right now, we have the old laws on renewable energy and the Climate Action Act. But other than that, we don't have specific laws on ESG. What I am proposing, honestly, which will be part of the book, is the global carbon tax. But the global carbon tax needs international cooperation. Otherwise, it might shy away foreign investors if the Philippines will start imposing carbon tax in Vietnam, Thailand. I mean, our competitors with foreign direct investments will not impose the same carbon tax. So my proposal, which we will be working with through IMF and other international organizations, is a similar policy with OECD's global minimum tax, which was supported by 140 plus countries. So we want a similar global carbon tax that will really make the polluters pay and use that funds to help transition everyone and at the same time protect the most vulnerable. You know, the problem with, not that the Paris Agreement is not good, but the problem there is no accountability. Everyone just made pledges. Para bang mga politikong nangako nung kampanya. So all countries did their own promises. But Philippines alone admitted that instead of decreasing our carbon emission, tumaas pa. But the thing is, we are the least in the long list of countries with carbon emission. Tayo yung pinakamababa. But vulnerability-wise, yung epekto ng natural calamities and disasters, number one tayo. And the irony of it, poverty is still our major problem. And corruption is still persists. So imagine how can we think of the earth when our immediate community is suffering because of corruption and poverty. So, kaya kailangan natin ng tulong ng developed countries. So, the proposed global carbon tax will also raise a climate financing from the carbon taxes of the developed countries. So, hopefully that will pass soon. Kasi yung global minimum tax, when we supported it, it was just a theory. Parang they were just lobbying it. And when I was in Harvard, they were starting to complete the signatories, but now it's already being adopted and implemented. In fact, in the ASEAN region, Pilipinas na lang ang hindi nag-a-adapt ng global minimum tax. So I think global carbon tax can follow. Then the next boom of global wealth tax para naman sa mga ultra-rich. Hindi kasama si Tidaloy na doon. Baka sabihin niya, iti-tax ko rin siya.
Salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question po. For the next.
Hi, good morning po ba? Good afternoon. For Ms. Hazel, sorry, I'm Larissa from Manila Society. I just want to, can you elaborate more on how this conference will help promote ESG, investing in business, tourism, and sustainability?
Well, actually, because we've been in partnership with different government agencies already in the past, I think 8-10 years already. We started, I think 8 to 10 years ago, we started doing nationwide roadshow with DTI, DIR, and now we have expanded our partnership with DOT as well, even with Department of Agriculture, and I think the reinforcement that we get the support of these government leaders to talk about the ESG investing, especially that during the recent courtesy meetings that we had with DOT, the Secretary also pledged their support na they're very much willing to support the initiative, especially the roadshow, because they also want to encourage more foreign investors sa site ng tourism. So the TIAZA, the attached agency of DOT, is also focused in encouraging sustainable businesses to invest here in the Philippines.
Second question is, ilan po yung target attendees niyo for this conference? Kasi medyo malaki din naman po yung Mario.
Yeah. So we are targeting, I think, at least 150. So 150 attendees, both from government and private sectors. And because we are launching also the ACG Global Awards, since then we are recognizing different companies who have sustainable initiatives. So we are aiming to have at least 150, and more or less 100 companies to be recognized during the conference.
Third question na, sorry. Out of this, let's say, business, tourism, and sustainability, saan po kayo mas malaki yung percentage na nagpo-focus po? Kaya talagang ma-invite sila to the conference. Saan po kayo mas mag-focus this time?
Actually, based po doon sa aming 4 pillars, kasi we want to have a diverse discussion. So we have 4 pillars that we want to focus on. So we call it FAST industries. So it's an acronym for different major industries. So we want to focus on fashion, arts and films, agriculture, AI, food of course, and then we also want to focus on sustainable cities, and then travel and tourism. That's why, if you would notice, maraming government agencies na before hindi naman namin kasama, like DOT. So you would probably ask, what's the relevance of DOT, Department of Agriculture, in our conference? So I think the common goal really is to promote sustainable development in terms of the business aspects.
Thank you po.
Thank you for that news. We would like to limit the question for one person and one person.
Good day, I'm Aubrey Santa from Business World. My question is for Sir Mon, but feel free to add. The DOF just released the draft IRR for the VAT refund law for non-residents, and this will be they will hold a public consultation next week. So my question is, how do you think the provisions such as the dual citizens to be eligible for the refund and the tourists to shoulder the service fee of the process of refund will affect the attractiveness of the law and visitors to actually avail the VAT?
You know, that model has been benchmarked with the European countries, or if you're familiar with global tax, where tourists around the world can really avail or ask for refunds before they return home. So when they go to the airport, or like in Japan, even in the establishments, you can already apply for VAT refund. It will definitely attract not just more investors, but more paying or investors with money to really spend a little more in our country. But at the same time, the caveat there is to make sure it's automated. Because our issue with in most policies in our country is the policy is good, but the administration is a bit weak. Meaning that the assigned agency is not prepared or the budget is not aligned, that they end up grappling and responding based on complaints. So hopefully, also in relation with the issue of PWD and senior citizen, it will be automated so that we will not be embarrassed when a foreign tourist or a tourist will say that I have a refund, but I already left your country, but I haven't received the refund. But again, the intention is good. It will definitely attract more investors and hopefully to spend more and buy more from legit entities that will issue invoices so that they can claim a refund.
So just a small follow-up. Do you think the 3,000 minimum for the VAT refund is okay, or do we need to have it at a higher rate?
Well, right now, we'll just have to let them implement it, and it can be adjusted anyway. So anything to do with threshold or amount can be adjusted. So I don't think it should be a reason for us to halt or delay the implementation.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Miss. So for this, hello. My questions for Bea. So you've been a very supportive partner of ACG. Can you share with us what you made decide to support ACG's initiative, like the conference, the roadshows?
Hello?
Ayaw sa akin. Hello po, good afternoon. I have been partnering and advocating for ACG and being good taxpayers for a while now. I think I am one of the first few ambassadors of ACG. And unang-una, for my personal knowledge, because as a business owner and actually as an artist also, it's important that we know what we are paying. Alam natin kung ano yung mga dapat nating bayaran at ano yung mga kailangan nating ayusin. I have friends that I know na whether they're business owners or celebrities that because they don't know if they're paying correctly or they didn't know if they were able to pay properly, and then yun na pala, marami na pala silang problema. And I'm here because I also want to advocate that before tayong magka-problema sa BIR, before nating problemahin ang tax natin, I think isa rin to sa mga sinasabi ng ACG na mas magandang kaibigan mo yung BIR, na you can be proactive, you can deal with it nang wala pa dyan yung problema. And also, I want, for sure, we all want a better Philippines for everyone. And for us, parang two-way street yan eh. We also have to be better citizens para umangat ang buhay ng lahat. So, and with that, being better citizens for me is also a knowledgeable citizen, a knowledgeable taxpayer, a good taxpayer at that, and of course, a well-aware Filipino. Ayan po. Salamat!
Thank you. Sige, a little follow-up. Kasi although parang nasagot mo na, pero as a young entrepreneur and advocate, why do you think that it's very important for a small business to be part of this, para maging involved in terms of tax?
Syempre po kapag small or part ka ng MSME, yan yung mga nagsisimula pa lang, di magsimula ka na ng tama. 'Di ba? Mas maganda na magsimula ka na ng legal, magsimula ka na ng proper, para in the future, kapag hindi ka na part ng MSME or if you become bigger, and then you don't have to deal with all these problems na pwede mo naman talagang ayusin sa umpisa pa lang. And importante po yun eh. It saves time, it saves money, it saves all the effort if at first you do it properly na. Thank you.
Thank you. So, as Miss Bea said, it saves time. So, next question.
Hi, good morning. My name is Karina Ramos from Digital Medina. First off, congrats po Sir Mon sa inyong upcoming book. Ayan. My question is for all panelists, anyone can answer. My first question is, how can this conference shape the future of sustainable investment in the Philippines? Anyone can answer. How can this conference shape the future of sustainable investments in the Philippines?
Well, as we always say, no matter how brilliant our ideas are, if we don't collaborate or work with our policymakers, with our government, was definitely more funds to our taxes, it will be less or slower. The impact is lesser. So through this conference, we want to make sure that we bring all our policymakers on board, together with our foreign chambers, the foreign companies, to make sure that they will realize the potential of the Philippines and at the same time the returns on their investment. You know, at the end of the day, we don't want anybody to waste their money bringing it to the Philippines, but they don't know if it will be profitable or not. So we want to assure them that through our assistance, it will be profitable and sustainable. And of course, yun ay yung angulo ng green economy na since there are so much potential in our country, we want them to also focus on what is environmental, social, and on governance aspects. That's why we really believe that to really shape a more sustainable future, we have to put our policymakers in front to lead us, but we guide them through the expertise of various sectors, including us from the business sector.
Thank you so much. My second question is po, maybe Attorney Lloyd can answer po. How can ACG work with others to drive inclusive growth?
Salamat for the question. First of all, I want to thank Mon Abrera and the Asian Consulting Group for inviting me to this breakfast. And I also want to thank you, Mon, for the first press conference. It was not a private dinner held at the Manila House when I just arrived. And so during that conference, I have that's my first visit to the Philippines after 7 years of boycott, because the previous administration came out with the fake news that I was plotting coup d'etat, which is totally false. They don't even know a single soldier. So, salamat, Mon. And I want to call on the writer of Esquire, because he wrote immediately the next day, Loida Nicolas Lewis, I have almost given up on the Philippines. And I want to tell him that after staying here for 1.5 weeks, I am taking back that statement. I am not giving up hope on the Philippines, because I have found out, talking to the reason is that I came here because it's the 25th anniversary of the school I founded in Sorsogon, the place where I was born and where I grew up. And when I made it in the United States in 20,000, turn of the century, there was a possibility of starting a school in Sorsogon. At that time, 25 years ago, Sorsogon is in the lowest third, poorest province of all 84 provinces. Sorsogon was in the lowest rank. And I know that the only way out of poverty is education. So I said, okay, I will invest in Sorsogon, the Lewis College. 25 years later, my nephew, Nico Nicolas, said, it's 25 years, Tita Loida. Please come to celebrate with us. And so I said, wala na ang previous administration. And I watched President BBM Marcos Jr., how he's doing it. And thank God, wala nang extrajudicial killing, that stopped. Thank God, many of the secretaries and administration of his government
are people with integrity. Meron pa rin, you can, I guess you cannot take away the corruption from others, but basically, he has chosen good people. And so, sabi ko, time to break my boycott. And while I was here, I came to Sorsogon, and when we hit Pilar, the first town in Sorsogon, malinis ang kalye, may ilaw sa gabi, and sabi ko, ang galing ng mayor dito ah. Next town was Castilla. Malinis ang kalye, may ilaw sa around 6 o'clock. Ang magaling din ang mayor dito. And as we passed through every town, I said, hindi na mayor dito, it's the governor. We have a new governor, Boboy Amor, and the previous governor was Chis Escudero, and we have the biggest coliseum in all of Philippines. A coliseum as big as the coliseum in Rome. Sabi ko, wow. And they were able to place on the shore a highway similar to Rio de Janeiro, on the highway, close to the ocean, not to the Sorsogon Green. Sabi ko, wow, galing. And when I visited the museum, parang museum ng Washington DC is Smithsonian. So sabi ko, how are you able to do this? And Boboy Amor said, because I was able to collect the right taxes from my businessmen here. Anong ginawa niya? He hired inspectors, hinaharang, in other words, he was able to collect correct taxes. And because we have money in Sorsogon, napagawa niya yan, he's doing so many things, free uniform for the 350,000 public school students, free uniform, free backpack, free shoes, and free umbrella. So, ang dami niyang nagagawa because the collection of taxes was right. So, ibig sabihin nun, merong gobernador ang bawat 84 provinces of Sorsogon na pareho niya aangkat ang Pilipinas. And then I heard about that yesterday. I was in the women's conference of Joy Belmonte, and so also with 3 million people, he is able to increase the lifestyle of especially the women in Quezon City. Pwede pala. And then I had dinner with Abby Binay. Ang dami na din ginagawa. Although I did not visit Vico Soto, I heard that he's doing all good. So to the writer of Esquire, I take back what I said. That I'm almost giving up. I'm not. Pero pag-asa ang Pilipinas, if we are all like these people with integrity, and if they listen to Mon Abreu regarding paying taxes. Salamat po.
Hahanapin natin si writer po na expert na yun. Salamat po, attorney, Sir Mon. For our next question.
Good afternoon. I'd like to ask first my question to Mon. If you're to be asked, what tax to GDP ratio will you recommend to the Philippine government? Since I think we're the lowest. What tax to GDP ratio? What restriction would you recommend to lessen the gap?
Hello. What tax to GDP ratio?
Yeah.
Well, I think the highest was under the previous administration at 16. But honestly, it's not just about the tax to GDP ratio. Time and again, it's like we have to go beyond the usual economic metrics. Kasi with the tax to GDP ratio, we are not actually expanding our tax base. And we are still focused on running after the MSMEs or the small taxpayers. I think rather than increasing our taxes or the rates, we have to be more efficient in the tax collection as mentioned by Tita Loida, so that we can double our tax to GDP ratio. I dare to demand or ask our government to aim to double our tax to GDP ratio, which means we really have to look for or run after the real tax evaders, the smugglers, the money launderers. Wala na kukulong eh. Tumatakbo pa pag-eleksyon eh. So we really have to bring them to courts, to jail, so that we can encourage honest tax payments.
Are you in favor of imposing wealth tax on the billionaires?
That's my next book.
Okay.
Yes.
To Attorney Luis, recently Mike Tan of Economist Inquirer said that our next president should be in the mold of President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico. What are your thoughts on that?
Can you repeat the question?
Recently, Dr. Mike Tan of Economist of the Philippine Daily Inquirer said our next leader should be in the mold of President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico. What are your thoughts on that?
You mean the president, the woman president of Mexico?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, she's got balls.
Thank you.
She's able to answer Trump to say, you are putting up walls against us. We are 80 billion people. No, sorry. We are 8 billion people outside of the United States. So if we will put a wall against you. We will buy products from other countries and not United States. And let us see who will kneel down and say, tama na. So I admire her.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the next question.
Hi, good morning. I'm John Guarnes, a fashion designer, also a columnist. I'm really, as a designer, we're really frustrated about what the government is doing in terms of the fashion industry, because they're not really supporting us, especially like in Thailand, in China. They're really supporting the textile industry. So that's my frustration. That's why my question is how can taxation can provide for fashion sustainability directly, Sir Mo?
You know, similar to our ASEAN neighboring countries, we have to ask the government to really allot a separate fund to actually support and subsidize a lot of our fashion designers or the fashion industry in general. And at the same time, to really come up with a tax incentive mechanism by which those who are really earning at a certain threshold, like 1 billion, are only those who will be paying taxes, to give them a break and allow them to really be more profitable. Maybe the problem is we are so collection driven but focus on the small ones. The government is so afraid to collect from their campaign dollars from the multinational companies who are supporting their candidacy. So maybe it's also high time to make the BIR independent of the bureaucracy, like the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Maybe we have to abolish BIR and create a new agency where the head is not a presidential appointee or a coterminous should not be a coterminous with the president, so that he can even run after the president.
Thank you so much.
Can I just follow up on that one? Fashion designer, excuse me. Okay, so you are right. We are right, because the government of Thailand, of Vietnam, those two are more or less the Philippine counterpart. And they have invested in the United States monies for restaurants, so that immediately the Thai restaurants got well known. They invested in their Thai restaurants, invested in Vietnam restaurants. So actually, Filipino restaurants, our cuisine is excellent, but sariling kusa of Filipino Americans in the United States. So, similar to fashion industry, sariling kusa nyo, for the first time 2 years ago, the Filipino fashion industry, apat yata, were able to penetrate September fashion industry in New York.
Yeah.
Sariling kusa. If the government have just a little imagination, invest so that we are on par with Paris, and Milan. So, yun lang. Tama ka.
Yeah,
Walang
actually,
investment
I was just talking to somebody organizing a Cannes festival, fashion festival last night, and he was asking me like if the government will support us, and I said no, we're just sariling kusa also, because we've been doing shows in New York, in Dubai, also on our own expenses. So it's very disappointing because we have a market in the international arena, but unfortunately, the government, even the manufacturer, I used to do consultation for Australian manufacturers, but unfortunately, the government really, have no eyes for this.
That's why on March 26 you should be there because the policymakers are there.
Yes.
DTI,
I'm one of your panelists.
So make sure your voices will not just be heard, but they will come up with a resolution on how to address it. Alam nyo, I don't know if this is the first time that I will say this. Maraming pera ang Pilipinas ha. Maraming pera ang
I
gobyerno.
know.
We really have to demand so that it will be used and allocated where it is much needed. And what Tita Lloyd is saying, she's well exposed on how other countries are making names in New York and in the rest of the world. Pag Pilipino, parang on your own. Tapos, sorry minsan tapos tayo din, kapwa Pilipino, pag kumain tayo sa Italian restaurant, kung makapost tayo sa IG, wagas. Pag kumain sa Filipino restaurant, hindi nagpo-post, magre-reklamo pa ang mahal. I mean, we have to really also support our fellow Filipinos. Ako, honestly, with all the travels, more than 50 states that we visited, I make it a point, I eat in a Filipino restaurant. As in, pinapahanap ko sa office, ano yung closest, sino yung bagong open na restaurant. And I post it on my IG kahit na nanay ko lang yung nanonood. At least, di ba, you carry your flag with pride. So anyway, we'll make sure on March 26 we'll be able to get in touch with the senators, the secretaries who will be there.
Thank you so much.
John.
Thank you.
Thank you po. So for the last two people, question.
Hello, good morning. I'm John Bueno from Kamukaw.com, a blogger. I'd like to point my question perhaps to Bea. Bea, you're very well known in the Philippines as more of like an environmental advocate. How does it personally feel for you that ACG is doing ESG things right now? And does it matter for you personally?
Of course, it matters. Every single effort that everyone is doing for our country, for Earth, for Mother Nature to be really more sustainable. And so, para mas maraming kabataan, mas maraming makinabang sa mundo natin, that every little single thing matters. And I think it's also a nice advocacy because apart from empowering and giving knowledge and guiding businesses, it's also nice because we also get to do our part as we have to take care of this world, di ba? Who will take care of kung hindi naman tayo? And I think it's nice nga kasi parang domino effect na yan na lahat kailangan talaga, hindi lang personal na effort mo, kundi pati negosyo mo, at kailangan talaga na alam ng lahat na kailangan talaga, it's really the time that we do our part.
Alright, thank you so much. My next question is for Ms. Bing. How did you get involved and why did you accept the role of being co-chair of the actual event?
Because I truly believe, actually I was invited to ASG by SecMon office. And when I attended the meeting and found out the advocacy of ACG, I really felt that I should help because I know this is the way to go. And we started with the women, and I said, yes, we have to help.
Yeah. So I truly believe in ACG, and I really said that I would like to, they said, can you co-chair? I said, yes, I'm willing to help. Of course, right now I'm just helping in the funding, looking for sponsors.
Yes.
But that's the way to go, isn't it?
Yes.
And I really believe this is the right way for us to go.
Sir Mon, this is like a general question, but how would you make Filipinos feel that their taxes are working? Particularly in Scandinavia and EU countries, more than half of what they earn is actually going to taxes. But they're not that much of a, I mean, they're not treating it as a problem because they're feeling where their taxes are going. How can that happen in the Philippines?
Well, I think first we need to demand more transparency and accountability. But equally important is we have to demand from ourselves to engage with our government. Kasi parang sabi ko nga earlier during our conversation before the start of the program, what I've learned from Harvard is no matter how brilliant your ideas are, if you do not engage and collaborate with those in power, with those with taxes or money, it's sayang eh. The impact will be less. So you really, rather than thinking who will get the credit, let's just share the ideas and work with our government, especially with the policymakers. Kasi that's the only way we make sure that every peso will be used efficiently, judiciously, and honestly. Kasi imagine mo with the confidential funds, how come, and I'm addressing this question to all media here, how come you don't question the confidential fund of the president? How come none of you question all the pork barrels that were renamed in various agencies? When there's so much poverty, there's so much disaster and calamities that will need much fund, bakit naging discretionary yung bulk of the fund of this administration? And none of you question it. We only question VP Sara Duterte. Of course, I will also question that. What I'm saying is, we don't need to play politics, but we need to be level-headed and be very critical because it's our taxpayers' money.
Thank you so much.
Ay, tama yun.
For our last question.
Hello po, good morning. I'm Tatiana Mantra from Rapper. My first question po is for Sir Mon. Sir Mon, the BIR surpassed its collection target for the first time in I think 2 decades. Diba? And si Commissioner, he attributed a lot of this to digitalization, making the tax payments more efficient. Now po na, I think, if I'm not mistaken, medyo tinaas na rin nila yung collection target na naman for this year. What else do they need to do in order to, not just meet that target for a second year in a row, but to also make sure na maayos yung pagbayad ng tax, maybe more education campaigns ba, or ano pa ba yung kailangan gawin?
This may shock you. BIR should stop auditing MSMEs. They have to stop bothering the small businesses. BIR should focus on the big-time tax evaders. They should account for at least top 100. Tapos lahat ng resources nila, i-focus nila dun sa 100 tax evaders. Because right now, 97% of our collection are still voluntary. So all the efforts of BIR running after, chasing after all the MSMEs only contribute less than 3% kasi yung iba, delinquent accounts pa. So ibig sabihin, probably less than 2% yung nako-contribute from the audit. And yet, that's all where the resources of the BIR is channeled. So first is, focus on the big ones, the big tax evaders. Then, second is, talagang moratorium, huwag mo munang galawin lahat ng MSMEs. Let them, if they're not yet registered, i-issue a notice, please register. Don't penalize them. If they're not issuing receipt, nasa listahan ka na namin next year kapag di ka pa rin nag-issue, we will not renew your permit. There is basis, hindi yung ikadado, ikasuhan, and yet the big ones, they don't get any penalty. They even run for election. Alam mo, paulit-ulit ko sinasabi yun because most of our politicians are not paying taxes. And yet, none of us is asking or demanding them to pay their taxes. At ang lakas mga ako, tutulungan ng bayan. Diba ang pinaka-basic na contribution natin, magbayad ng movies. So, if BIR will be able to champion that every one of us will be accountable and responsible taxpayers, but at the same time demand from those who are not paying taxes. Let's say, for instance, if this big establishment is not issuing receipt, stop buying or purchasing from that entity. Boycott term nga ni Tita Lloyda, boycottin mo. Because you're paying taxes, tapos sila hindi patas. Similarly, if the candidate is not paying taxes, ang laki-laki ng bahay, naka-SUVs, tapos walang tax return or walang yung salin, malaki pa yung asset mo, don't elect for them. Kasi dalawa lang yung responsibilidad natin Pay taxes correctly and vote wisely. That's the only way to make sure that whatever BIR will collect will be used properly. Imagine mo, sabi natin na exceed yung target. Magkano yung target? Wala pang 3 trillion. Eh yung Vietnam, nasa almost 20 trillion yung nakolekta. Tayo, ang laki-laki natin, ang nakolekta natin, wala pang 3 trillion. Maybe it's time to make it 10 trillion. Kasi yung utang natin, 16 trillion na. Sino magbabayad doon? Again, the most vulnerable, hindi pa pinapanganak, may utang na naman. And we have to stop it. That's also a more sustainable future. Diba? Kaya in the end, sorry tax is key. Tax policy seems to be a solution to a lot of problems. But we have to make those who are in power pay their taxes muna. Otherwise, walang moral ascendancy.
Can I follow that up? I'm calling on President BBM because when he was governor of Ilocos Sur, I think Ilocos Norte, he did not pay tax. And so, umakyat at lumaki. So, I'm calling on President BBM to settle. Okay, to settle, makipag-ayos na with BIR so that when he says, pay your taxes, he did it himself.
Second question ko po is for Matilda. Anyone in the panel can chime in. Ma'am, I think last year, the SEC reported na I think around 95% of corporations are already reporting what they've been doing with ESG practices. And I think there were initial talks of siguro formula or standardizing the kinds of KPIs na they use to measure their ESG goals and initiatives. What do you think of this po when standardizing these for all corporations across the board? Do you think it will help promote ESG in this country, especially na yung SEC takes on more of explained approach at nagkakaroon ng mga violations kung bakit?
Yes, I think having that standard, because that's how we should start, having a standard so that they will report. They must report. Because now, I know SEC is requiring them to report. And this is a good start for us. And so we can really see how they are doing. Because the others, because they're not required to report, they're not agree. But this is a very good start.
My last question po is for Rose and Sir Mon. I'm actually very curious about the friendship, the partnership that you guys have forged. I was wondering how you became friends, and what kind of initiatives are you guys working on together?
Okay, so Mon first came, and when we had a heart-to-heart talk, I learned that when he was young, his family went bankrupt, and he had to live near the cemetery. And one time, he was washing his pants on top of a tomb. And at that time, by God's design, a photographer took his picture na naglalabas sa taas ng tomb. And because of that picture, Sambeda gave him a scholarship. And from there, akit na siya. Because he remembered how it was to be poor. And now, he was asked by Stanislaw, who is for good governance, to say, please go to BIR and find out what's wrong with BIR. Unang-una, ayaw niya. But he said, I promise you, you will go to Harvard and I will sponsor you. Aba, that's a very good, arrow in front of the donkey. He's not a donkey. So, pumasok siya ng 2 taon. And he understood why. Because the corruption in BIR is from top to bottom. Not only BIR, top, the very top presidente, secretary, hanggang sa janitor. So how do you fix that? That's why he became a tax expert. So when I learned that, I said, you are my man. Ikaw ang kailangan ng Pilipinas. Because although I'm an American citizen, we were able to influence GMA, Senate President Drilon then, and Speaker De Venecia, that we Filipinos who are abroad will be reaching retirement age. And if we don't become a citizen, we don't want to be a foreigner in our original country. So we were given the right to recover our Filipino citizenship. So I may be American, I was living there for more than 50 years, but at heart, I remain Filipino.
She was being interviewed on TV, and I think it's about the Duterte thing. I saw it while I was in Harvard. Then I googled her name. Of course, I knew about her, but I wanted to know more about her. Then I saw a photo or an article that she's friends with Tito Boy. So I called Tito Boy right away. So then in one of my classes, which is corruption class, Tito Boy rang me back. So tumawag siya ulit, sabi niya, Mon, send me an email. I will forward it to Lloyda and her secretary. We will arrange right away a meeting, etc. We got a meeting, but via Zoom because she's so busy. I think she was moving, and so I confirmed the Zoom meeting. But you know, I'm doing live interviews, so baliktad yung oras. So medyo bangag-bangag ako. I overslept. So, hindi ko na-attendan yung Zoom meeting. So, I apologize, message her and the secretary, Lily, the name of the secretary is Lily, asking for another chance if I can meet her. Then, they gave me a lunch schedule. So, I left Boston, flew right away to New York to have lunch with her. But I didn't tell her that I didn't skip class, except that I had to fly to be in New York to have that lunch with her. But it was so worth it because she brought me to a performance that night. I met some of the celebrities. I mean, it was always an opportunity to meet a lot of good people, Filipinos, Filipino-Americans, and foreigners when you are in the company of Tita Lloyda. And one thing I appreciate, almost 2 years pa lang since we met, is she's very generous. She would always say the nicest things and introduce you to the nicest people. And whenever she come across any of my articles or interviews, she shares it with everyone. And she would always tell me, oh, share ko sa akin. I will share to people who would benefit from that. So ganun siya particular on helping me. So I am very grateful and honored. So when I learned that she's coming over, talagang ginulo ko sila Pichi, sila Hazel. Sabi ko, we need to host a dinner for my Tita Lloyda. Then when we were coming up with the award, Tita Lloyda should be given before she leaves because she's leaving on Monday. So, and this was also scheduled. So medyo gumalaw lahat yun because I learned that a very good friend of mine who not abandoned but who avoided the Philippines for 7 years according to her is finally back. So sabi ko, at least my way of making her feel good that Philippines is still home for all of us. So maraming salamat Tita Lloyda, and thank you for all the good words and the opportunity. And I know that she will continue to support us and to make sure that the Philippines will be more sustainable in the future.
Salamat mo. Because ang galing nating Filipino, 10 million or maybe now 11 million are outside the Philippines. We are in a diaspora. We sent $35 billion last year dito sa Pilipinas, foreign remittances. And when we are allowed the opportunity, we shine. Lahat ng Pilipino abroad, umaakyat. Marami tayo dito, we are 100 million, ang dami nating magagaling. Ang kulang lang oportunidad, education. So I call on President BBM and the BBM, Marcos Jr., and the Secretary of Education, please help the 60 million Filipinos who say they are poor and very poor. Yan ang dapat bigyan ng pera. The education of the Philippines is the key out of poverty, and with that, the Philippines will rise up like the sun.
Thank you to all of our panelists for that engaging and